We are on the block of Oak Street that is just about 100 feet short of Cabot. And we're almost at the Nautilus, or in fact it's right behind us. And across the street from us at 235 Oak Street, you see a house that's been drastically changed by aluminum siding. But it's important for who lived there. From 1899, when it was constructed, into the late 1950s, so about 60 years, it was the rectory or the parsonage for the Second Baptist Church, which is on Appleton Street. So this is where the minister lived here, and he would walk after Mass with his family back here. So it was important by functional mostly. And it's just a little bit short of Fairmont Square, so it's with all these beautiful houses. I think this would have been a gorgeous house at one point, but it's been drastically changed over. But across the street from it is Louis Strauss's house. He was a business owner in Holyoke, and he built a new neo-Tudor Victorian house. And you can see that it has the beams on the outside coming down vertically and also horizontally. Sign of the old Tudor period, which is a Shakespeare period of British history. So on this block, there's 3 of these houses, and we'll see a couple of them at another stop. But it's a very well-kept, gorgeous house. You can see the second and top roof floor are with stucco, and it's very well maintained with a nice porch. Now, right behind us is the side of the Nautilus, and the main Nautilus is sweeping off of Cabot Street, but this is the side. And why is this side important? Because if you had come out here when this home was built, and the home was built in 1898, all right?
Yep.
So this Victorian home was made in 1898. It says in the cornerstone exactly that. And that's important because when in 1911 the fire happened, they kept the Victorian home that was here. And another thing they kept is the address. So it has a Cabot Street address, but it also has on it an Oak Street address. 2 addresses to the same building. This is 242 Oak Street. So before this business came in here, it was a beautiful Victorian home in Elizabethtown, with her husband Edwardtown, took it over and did business here and lived here both. I think the Victorian home itself was constructed in the 1880s. It must have been gorgeous. So someday I want to find a picture of it. I haven't found one yet. It must be easy to find a picture of it. So we're going to go up to the curbing. The reason why this is the most graceful curbing in Holyoke. Usually in Holyoke, you have, when 2 streets meet at right angles, and most of them do, what happens is the curbing also meets at right angles. Most of Holyoke is that. If you look at old maps, there's many right angles, and there's lots of straight curbs. Any detailed map will show you that. Now, if you look at this one, the curbing is all with a graceful circular design, all 4 of them. When you go to the next intersection at Oak, New Hampshire, 2 of the 4 curbings are circular, and 2 of the 4 are more towards a right angle, or they're squared off. So this is the only intersection where all 4 curbings are very gracefully curved. In the middle of this intersection, there used to be a circle with grass in the middle. It was about 5 feet in diameter. In the middle of there would have been a large vase, and that vase would have been about 3 feet high, 2 feet wide. And it exists pictures of both this vase and the one that was one in section up. So it formed the start of Fairmont Square. This block from Cabot up to Hampshire Street on Oak Street was called Fairmont Square. It was designed by the same carpenter who doubled as an architect, and who doubled again, or tripled, has his own construction firm. Leslie White, he didn't stay around Holyoke very long. Mid-1880s he started here. By mid-1890s he had moved out to New Jersey. Now, the last thing to show you at this location is the house across the street from the Nautilus. And you notice that part has a little siding, but the front part doesn't. So if you look at the part that faces on the Oak Street, it has the original siding, and if you also look on the side of it, there's brick. And every house on this one city block has 12 homes in a row with brick facades. This is probably the first one made. It was made in 1885, again by Leslie White. And he started this, and he started very fancy because he wanted people to see his work. And this was a very busy intersection. It's a very busy intersection. And he wanted people to be able to see his beautiful work so they'd buy his house, and then he could start making the next home. And a lot of middle managers came in here and bought up homes. This was the house of Henry Russell. And what Henry Russell did was two things. In the late 1800s, he was a hardware dealer. By the 1890s and up to 1900, 1910, he started into car repairs, and he had lots of car shops around Holyoke. So he knew that as soon as cars came around, that was the better business to get into, and he got very rich by working on cars. But notice what's happened. The graceful shingle-based tower was probably a Queen Anne tower, but it has beautiful shingles on that. It probably had those kind of shingles on most of the top floor and on the roof line too. So it would be called a shingle subtype of a Victorian home. But if you look at what happens, it lost it all around. Still, someone has a wraparound porch without the railings anymore. So there still is some of his grandeur, but not as much as it used to be. Thank you for coming on this stop.